Oh yeah, I forgot all that stuff about Dewana is happening, and forgot her team was here today. Her team for now. Anyway, welcome back
Okay.
to the Storm
Jesus
post game.
Christ.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens in the coming days.
Oh god.
Um, welcome to the Storm post game report. Uh, Christian Charles here from what was a sellout, 18,343, which is tied for the biggest attendance number in Storm history. We've moved a little bit of location wise, doesn't matter. There are people in the media seating. I don't think anyone wants to hear me talk over there. So yeah, tough one for Seattle tonight, 94-86 loss. I mean, what stands out to me immediately, Christian, before we even get really into it, is just the interior play, right? Whether it is rebounding, which Seattle, what did you say? It was, despite how well Seattle has played this year and the stretch that they're on, they were a bottom four rebounding team, I think was the number. Um, but they don't rebound well, that's for sure.
Second
Um,
West.
Second, Jesus, yeah, there you go. And that stood out tonight. They're out rebounded 38-21. Particular 15 O board stands out to Seattle's 7. The defensive rebounds don't get much better with 23-14 in favor of Indiana. But, points in the paint specifically, doing the like stats post for our Storm game day post, looking at the Storm at points in the paint second, which we expect. Indiana at number one with about 40 points per game in the paint. They had 52 to be exact points in the paint in this one. Uh, Second chance points, I think, was something Skylar Diggins mentioned in the post game presser, was something that wasn't good enough. Indiana 20 to Seattle's 11. Um, just interior. I mean, those are some stats to help that interior. There are other things that stand out about this game as well, but just in the paint, I mean, Leah Boston had a great game in this one, 31 points, 31 points, 8 boards. Um, just a Leah Boston clinic tonight. And Kelsey Mitchell really got in a rhythm in this one, 5 for 7 from three. That was something that was mentioned post game. Was I think Skylar said that as well. Kelsey Mitchell gets in a rhythm. It's a problem. Um, they held number 22 to 6 points on 3 for 13 shooting and 0 for 6. Forced her to turn the ball over 8 times. So they did that part right. But just so many times, Christian, I would look up and Indiana was getting a layup. Or if they took a shot from outside or anyone from the field, they were able to get the board quickly and put it immediately back up. Right. So that's the interior game is what stands out to me about this one. Yeah, just your opening thoughts on this one before we kind of break it down into segments and such.
Well, off rip, kind of a confusing game considering you have, arguably the best wing defender in the league in Gabby Williams. And she's doing her best. And I mean, the two possessions I saw in the first quarter, the first one was a turnover, the second one was a miss, and the third one was a block. So from what I've seen, there wasn't any bucket scored of Gabby Williams. The issue was Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. You know, I felt like one of the things that Seattle does, and a lot of defenses, especially depending on the offense you're going against, which you can't really afford to do, is overhelp and be too aggressive in that type of coverage because you're leaving the floor, some part of the floor open for someone else to maximize that. You see that a lot, especially in this game. You see the pick and roll coming. You got NECA hedging or something like that, and there's a pass into the paint. And then boom, it's a 2 points from Kelsey Mitchell or Lexi Hall or excuse me, Leah Boston. Leah Boston also with a career high 31 points. She notched that with one free throw. Her former career high of 30 points was his last, I think it was last year. Remember? She had that. But overall, I mean, she is an all W, probably first team selection right now. Leave Boston. She's playing like it, and you see that in this game. The fact that you lose by um, 8 to a fever team where Caitlin Clark shot three for
Right at
pretty good.
right about talking about how this fever team, like how You had just mentioned Caitlin shooting 3 for 13.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, man, that arena Wi-Fi is shitty, bro.
This quick sideline. This is the one pro sports venue in this city that does not have a media specific Wi-Fi. So we are
What?
on
Wait,
the
see, you're
media.
the fan Wi-Fi?
Yes. So anybody
Oh,
that
that's
that
crazy.
comes to the game that came to the game tonight, we were on the same Wi-Fi as them. Which I'm trying to tweet through a PWHL entry draft, a Storm game, and a Mariners game at the same time. Not conducive to good results. So yes. Anyway,
I
sorry.
can
Quick
imagine.
sideline.
Jesus Christ. You know what's crazy? Now that at least when you're in the arena, I know that it's not always me now.
Seems like it has struck again. Unfortunate. Um. Yeah. Funny. We just had Sydney Colson walk by. Um. Oh, and now she's reacting pretty loudly. Um. Oh, think I got you back. You hear me?
You hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me? Yes? No? Yep. I'll cut all this. Just about Indiana, and how they can still do things when Caitlin's not going. Yeah, it was pretty interesting, you know, to see that. Um, I guess one of my questions off rip, because this is something that we were asked, both you on Twitter and ours on the main CSS. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm hiccuping. Is the questions about Dom? Well, there were questions about Dom playing, and that's gonna happen. Like back to back seasons, we have. Well, in the it's funny that I'm going to say this, but I realized that it's not like the most outlandish question to ask this, to pose this about Noel Quinn coach teams and their playing rookies one and bench rotations. Like it's a very valid question, but the back-to-back years where there's a star rookie on your team and fans are asking you why she's not playing, right? Um, you and I both got the question about why Dom didn't play more in this one because I think you even had a tweet about how the length that she could throw at Aaliyah Boston, right? Because there were so many instances where, again, as I'm saying it, this basket specifically, seeing Aaliyah Boston go up and have no issue getting the layup, right? Or if it was she's going in to crash the boards on an attempt, getting that and just pushing it back up, right? Um, and you could, if you want to separate these two, you can. But that and just fan Joey Gavin on Twitter, it's so frustrating that when the game is tight, Noel is going to tighten the rotation to 6 players. No chance for the starters to get a breather. No chance for the bench to get in a rhythm. I think they're valid questions to pose. I do understand down the stretch of the game because you were able to kind of dig your way in, but obviously that third quarter deficit was too much to overcome, right? Like I understand having your five bests on the floor. Um, But yeah, what are your thoughts on whether it be, again, you can split them if you want. The bench,
Yeah.
lack of seeing the bench down the stretch, and even that third quarter, maybe to get a different look, and Dom's minutes. Because yeah, I mean there was it was question asked in the press conference. There was a sequence down on this end of the court here where Dom was on Caitlin and kind of like didn't give her an easy bucket, kind of forced her to pass it out. Just I don't know your thoughts on kind of the bench usage in this one because I know it is something that you and I and obviously Rowan when Rowan is around have talked about throughout the course of the year.
So with this game, I don't think it's quality. It's at least when it comes to players not named Dom. Um, I don't think there was really an issue with the bench for the simple fact that Alicia Clark has really molded a role as far as the small ball four. Um, Indiana didn't really run any small ball through the majority of the game. I mean, you had, Latasha Howard, you got Aaliyah Boston, you got Demiris Dantas. Aaliyah Boston played 33 minutes. Damaris Dantas played 20 minutes. Natasha Howard only played 12. Lexi Hall played 30. So basically, yeah, Lexi Hall out rebounded Nneka Ogwumike and Ezzy McElroy. That's not something that you ever want to see. Um, yeah, wow. That's sorry, that just kind of threw me off a bit. But yeah, as far as the bench, there you weren't really getting much from the starters as far as defense, for the simple fact that again, an over aggressiveness when it comes to the point of attack, and you see that especially tonight. That doesn't really have to be just Kaylin Clark as the primary ball handler. It was really just anybody. It could be Lexi Hall. It could be Kelsey Mitchell. It just what didn't really seem um change that in the second half.
Mm,
Like it kind of worked against them. That the aggression just, once you get caught on the spot, the team can get you pretty easily. And you're already used, I mean, from what I'm describing, if you can think about it, like your feet are basically in cement. Your body has to
mm,
generate too much force to move. By that time, that player's already downhill.
yep.
This is why core strength is so important. Um, just in general, it sucks because you see that second quarter, and then you see that first quarter, and it's like both of them, Indiana ended on pretty sizable runs. And then you go into the third quarter on a 13-1 run from the second quarter. Seattle is kind of, getting back into it. Around the 6 minute mark in the third, Skyler brings it to a 5 point game. From that point, at the 6 minute mark, Indiana goes on a 19-7 stretch. Outscores Seattle. I think it was 30-19 in the third quarter. That's the ball game. That's the ball game. And you just can't tell me that in certain stretches of those minutes, especially in the second half, that you couldn't throw down Dominique Malonga in there to see what that she can give you. Again, 6'6", 7'2" wingspan. She's the longest player on the team. She's the tallest player on the team. You would think that just seeing what you got. I mean, because at
Yeah.
one point Seattle was down double digits for most of the fourth quarter.
Yep. Yep.
And it wasn't really a close enough game to just say, hey, okay, we're trying to win this game. La, 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 la. We're going to stick with the starters. That wasn't really the situation for almost half of the fourth quarter.
Mm-mm.
So again, this is kind of a small thing to look at. It's not really a big picture thing because overall, not really too worried about this loss. I'm worried about how it happened.
Yeah, that makes
It's
sense. That makes
it's
sense.
not the loss. It's how you lost. It's how you lost the game. The rebounding disadvantage, the fast break disadvantage. You know, this is a different team than last year in every regard. But when this team cannot shoot the three, it kind of falters in the opposite way. Noe said during the presser that she kind of sees the confidence waning in her players. Sometimes
Mm,
she says, like, these are superheroes to me. And like, I get that, but at the same time, there's no way in the world that your player should be losing confidence in the game
mm.
less than a quarter season through the way. Like that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, that is interesting to hear for sure. That was someone I was like,
That's
are
a
you,
curious admission
you
too,
sure?
though. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, and I'll kind of take that, right? I know you mentioned it not being the loss itself, it being the way it happened. I know there was some reaction on Twitter to it about it being a bad loss to a bad team. And Indiana hasn't necessarily been a powerhouse this year, right? And I came into this one maybe foolishly feeling great about Seattle, right? Having won six of the last seven, again with the
three
three
straight.
three all-star candidate, yeah, three straight. They had their third little bunches of threes here. Um, and I mean, if you were going to be a box sport score watcher, right, and not someone who looked at the game itself or like any of the like intangible stats that come here at the end of the box score, I mean, you get double digits from 4 or 5 starters. Ezzy like 3 for 4 and has a bunch of stats all over, unfortunately, including 4 fouls. He hit a three in this one. You get 20 from Erica. Nice 22, 22, 6 and full. Nope, 22. Huh?
The only thing about
Ah,
Erica's 20 though is that 14 came in the fourth when the game was
yeah,
pretty much kind of out of reach. And it's like,
which is nice to have that push though, right?
yeah. I mean, she's had a couple of double-digit fourth quarters in the last three games, I believe.
Yes.
She's had two.
Yeah. So, but yeah, my point though is like, right, you get 16 from NECA, 11 from Gabby, two steals, and a block. Like, again, you probably don't feel too bad about if you were just strictly looking at the box score and the starting five. But like seeing the like as you mentioned, the run, what is something that they've talked about continuously through the year, but like especially lately is finishing quarters,
Finishing quarters, starting and finishing.
starting and finishing quarters, right? They didn't do that, and that's a continued issue. So like my thinking with this loss, because I maybe I'll get some flack for thinking it's not the worst. Like I'm not being too worried about it, right? And that's fine. I'm open to healthy discussion. Put it in the YouTube comments. It helps engagement. Um, right? Like I'm fine with having that discussion, but like it's more to me, the issues to me are some of the things that, the ugly characteristics is not being able to finish the quarters, start finish the quarters, you know, like the issues with rebounding, like that obviously legitimately hurts you, right? We talked about the second chance points, so just stuff like that, where it's like things that aren't going away. It's not, necessarily. I don't forgive me. I don't know if it's a number we're able to look up or from having looked at it previously, but I don't think Seattle normally gives up this many points in the paint, right? They're like,
On average, no.
so you know what I mean? Like that's different to me. That's not something I'm gonna worry about long term. Like what I'm worried about long term is being able to like hold off or start runs in your own quarters, right? Um, that's where my issue is with this loss. Like you took care of a superstar. The problem is two other
Oh,
stars
wait.
came in, huh?
Oh. I,
Uh-oh. Don't tell me now.
yeah, Seattle actually allows the fourth most paint points in the league.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
So okay,
so,
never mind. Change that.
yeah.
That's a problem. Like, which is fascinating considering you've got Ezi Magbagor and Eka Gumake. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
hate to sound like a broken record again, but there's a lot of things that Jordan Horson does on the basketball court
No, it's
that,
right. It's true. It's true.
like, listen, man, the energy, the infectious nature on the defensive end, the destructiveness, like her length on the wing, limits so many ball handlers from getting in the paint, getting 2 feet in the paint. Like she's just one of those players that kind of does a little bit of everything, especially on the defensive end. In the half court sets, I don't think there was a better disruptor besides Skyler. I mean, of course, Gabby came on during the second half of the season, but
Yeah.
Jordan Horston was the heartbeat of that defense through the first half of the season. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
her starting was a major reason why they went on that win streak at the end of the first half, be 17-8. So you know, it's another. It's easy to say, yes, look at the talent on this roster. This is the reason why they should be doing these things. But you also have to look at it as far as from a coaching perspective. You lose a player that can really do everything. Jordan Horson is a guard. She always has been a guard. She just plays
Big
four in the
goal.
W. Exactly. Just because that's what the W classifies guards that are taller than like 6'1", really. If you're taller than 6'1" in a guard, I mean, in a guard, you're a four in the W. Um, that's a whole nother story. But you know,
Yeah.
when the team has to go small and Alicia Clark, this may sound bad, is your only option. It's not just as far as skill level, because of depth. You don't really have any others besides Dominique Malunker. And
Yeah.
clearly that's not an option consistently enough. So it's Alicia Clark or die, really, from what we've seen.
Which is
Or, or you have games like this where she only plays 18 minutes and it's just the heavy NECA Ezzy combo. And I'm not sure if that really helps them. Like think this was earlier. Um, Gabby is seventh in minutes overall in the W. Uh, just double check this because I looked it up and I was like, I couldn't really believe it. But then again, I can because I think it was you. You asked a question a couple of days ago about bench scoring,
How about the
and
bench? Yep.
yeah, and Quinn wasn't exactly the biggest fan of it. Because you basically just say, you guys will never be satisfied because you take points from the starting lineup. I mean, from the bench, you put in the starting lineup. Of course, it's going to weigh each other out. But it's not really about points, really. It's about
No, it wasn't
production.
about points. Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
production on really both sides of the court. You have Zach come in, play some really good defense, all right? Picked up two quick fouls in the first quarter, played a little bit more, I think, in the second, but you didn't really see more of her in the second half at all. You kind of wondered, like, what's going on there, because you have to give Skylar a break. You have to give NECA a break. Like these players cannot play 30 plus minutes every single game.
Not only that they can't, they shouldn't have to be,
Yeah.
right? Again, we'll hammer this all year because you'll see it. And unfortunately, we'll probably see it down the stretch because we saw it preseason, right? But like, you have to keep your stars healthy. Obviously, keep everybody healthy, right? But like, again, and we talked about this earlier in the season. Um, but like, yes, you're getting again all-star and typically MVP level performances from Skylar Diggins, Neko Gumake, and Gabby Williams. You're gonna need to spell them though if you want to keep doing that. Like again, God forbid these guys get fucking burnt out. I used my word. There we go. In the second half at some point, because we're what? We got 29 games left. That's not including playoffs. Fuck, what if we get to the playoffs and then they're burnt out? And
Gabby
you know?
Gabby is seventh in minutes per game. She's
Mhm.
fourth in total minutes. Skylar is sixth in total minutes. NECA is ninth. Your
Oh, they're
three
all in the top
best,
10.
they're all in top 10 minutes played.
Yeah, no, it's funny because and this was a good question posted. I forgot what the main part of it was. I'm sorry, but at Ezzy Dub, DUB on Twitter brought it up. Um, and you answered it well because yeah, it is like I know you mentioned not wanting to sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. Like what Jordan Horston does, like oh God, if Jordan Horston is healthy this year, like
This is a
being able
championship
to
contender team without a
spell
doubt.
Gabby Williams and like that energy again, it's contagious. Even in a bad year like 23, covering it every game, unlike other folks. I felt it. Like I could see it. We could hear it in the pressers, that's for sure. You could feel it talking to her. So like, yeah, no, I think it's a fair point to bring that up because you can argue, you can be like, oh well, yeah, he keeps bringing it up, but this is how we have to do with it. Yeah, that's true, but also, yeah, I mean, you coach for what 2 years if you're Noel Quinn, and you've got that, and like, I mean, you're hard pressed not to think about it, considering that she's going to be with you next year. Um, that's a good point, my friend. Yeah, that's tough. Okay, so well, maybe yeah, maybe I feel a little bit less good about this game after knowing the points in the paint part.
I mean, then again, I'm not even really too worried about the points in the paint. I'm worried about the rebounding because Seattle
Yeah,
is still winning games despite it. But there are
yeah,
going to be games you're just not going to win a championship being one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. That's just not the case. The NBA and college and the W overseas and basketball in general. If you are not giving your team the chance to get back on the other side of the floor,
yeah.
you're not going to get it. I
Mm.
mean, the second chance points, man, 20 to 11. I mean, 15 offensive rebounds. 15. I mean, they nearly had more offensive rebounds than Seattle had rebounds. Yeah, 15.
Wait.
Seattle had 21 total.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is funny that Seattle had more team rebounds, but that doesn't do much. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and turning the ball over too. Yeah, they turned the ball. They had Seattle turn the ball over. At least it's a small margin of two, but it's still like losing the turnover battle is not something that this team has bought. Like again, hearing Noel Quinn speak, I'm sure any coach would say that about the turnover battle, right? But I know he has harped on it before. So
but
yeah,
even
man.
then, like the turnovers, at least like this game, I'm willing to chalk it up. There's some of the things that I've seen of the turnovers. Seattle is the
Mm.
second the best. The second best. This is a tongue twister. The second best assist to ratio record right now in the league. So I'm not really too worried about the turnovers. The rebounding, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
The rebounding,
that's yeah,
like I said in the presser, it's rebounding, all this stuff. It's not X's and O's. It's really just the sheer will to do it.
yeah,
And Skylar and NECA take a lot of credit, of course, you know, when things aren't going well. And I get that. But at some point, someone else has to step up and, hey, okay, this is not just Skylar and NECA's fault. This is my fault too.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
of course we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't see what's going on in practice besides the 30 minutes that media is allowed to be there for on a day-to-day occasion. But there needs to be some accountability. That's not Skylar Diggins and Nneka Gundogan.
yeah.
I hear Erica
I mean,
Weir. I mean, she had almost as many turnovers as she had. Well, she had 6 turnovers. Yeah,
wow, yeah,
she had as many turnovers as she had made shots. So I mean, the 14 points was great in the fourth quarter. But overall, there has to be some accountability when it comes to things like this. These
I
these
hear you.
games these games haven't been often, but it's the way that they're losing and the way that even
Yes,
in some of these wins, it's like, well, you won, but you got out rebounded by 15. So
yeah, yeah,
I need other people to be accountable besides Skylar Diggins and that could go.
yeah. That's a great yeah. Because I mean, they came in the press conference. They wore the shit out of this one, right? I mean, they both took it on themselves. Skylar talked about threw a sorry, threw a few profanities in there to describe it. I've already sworn here. But yeah, no, I mean that those two are the engines of your team, both in production and in leadership, right? So,
There is no way Lexi Hall should be out rebounded two future Hall of Famers. It's bullshit. Sorry. Shouldn't be
oh
happening.
my God. Wow.
It should not be happening. 11. She had
How,
a double double.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. So, no, I mean, I hear you for sure.
And she's
Like I
good. Don't get
said,
me wrong. Lexi Hall is a great 3-point
oh, for
shooter.
sure. But
Like, there's
no,
a reason why she's
absolutely
in the
not.
W. But out rebounding a 6'2" forward and a 6'5" forward, no, should not be happening.
I mean, she rebounded everybody and at least individually, everybody on Seattle. That's
Yeah.
so, yeah, no, I mean, I still feel that way though. Like you mentioned, these losses aren't happening often, but it's like I need you to handle this. I need you to handle these issues in the first half, of the season. Because what? We split it 44 games, 22. Before we get to the 22nd, we got 7 games, right? Oh wait, no, they're 9-6 now. So you got 6 games. Um, oh yeah, it's not on the box score. Yeah, I just need you to handle some of these. I don't need you to have your team fixed by mid-season because that's not the eventual champion of this league will not have everything fixed at half season. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just yeah, it is how these things are happening because it's not like Seattle. There's no way Seattle goes and like gets someone to fix these problems, right? They're not going to be able to do that. It's going to have to come from within. NECA used the word mentality when talking about rebounding, which Coach Quinn has used before. That's right. Do you think in any world Lexi Hull would normally be out rebounding these players? No, but she went and did it because she probably, it is a mentality thing. You got to sacrifice yourself. I was never very good when I played basketball, but I mean, my role was to play the four and box out. I boxed out like hell. That was all. Um, yeah. So shoot. Yeah, again, not worried about the fact that you're 9-6 now. It is the fact how you got there. It is just very weird that they keep winning in 3 game streaks though. Um, yeah. I guess let's say some again, yeah, to have Skylar give you 22, 6 assists, 20 for America. Yes, the 14 in the fourth. It's nice to dig you out of probably a hole you were helped create, right? Um,
Yeah.
NECA's game, 16, 6 boards, 4 stocks. See, I can learn. I can learn how to use things. Um, 11 from Gabby, and it's just
Yeah.
nice to see some free throw attempts for once. Um, yeah, it's just tough, and especially tough. Well, what stuck with me is, and I might go back and clip it as well. Is Skylar talking about the crowd? Again, 18,343. We've got the third deck open tonight. Make sure I keep my damn camera so it doesn't fall.
Wait, the
Um,
third deck is open?
yeah, their deck was open last game when they sold it out against New York. It was not open, so it was like they have the curtains up there. You can kind of see over there those curtains. They have the curtains to like cover them. They used
Yo,
to do
I
this in
forget
Key
that's
Arena
even
too.
there sometimes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it was a sellout. And Skylar was pretty adamant. She was like, "Hey, like for fans to come out, pay good money, make it a good atmosphere, be loud, and to for us to put up that performance, it's unacceptable." It was like, "Hey, this is a leader doing leader things." Same with NECA, of course. Um, yeah. So the response should be interesting. That response will come on Friday.
Well,
Uh,
they shouldn't have a response to every 3 games.
this, yeah,
Uh, we're gonna get into it in our All-Star break, but
yeah.
you
It
know,
like
the level
winning
of
three.
inconsistency.
Yeah, no, because that is a thing. That is a thing. Like you should be able to put that together. Um, yeah, we'll have to do a roundtable. Rowan's back from her, as I jokingly called it, world
The
tour.
World Tour.
Rowan, Miss Worldwide, Miss 206. I wasn't gonna say 305. Yeah, my friend. Anything we didn't talk about in this one that you might want to look at? We looked at the bench, points in the paint, interior rebounding, looked at your starters. Again, it was nice to see as he hit a three. I will say, from my vantage point, she looked relieved to hit that. She looked like almost you could see the whole body like kind of come out. And it like as much as we talk about, and you and I both realize this, it's not like we're saying otherwise or bashing her mentality, but it you really have to again, we both know the player she can be, we know the human she is. It's got to be tough because she feels it. I can guarantee she feels it, the performances that she's had. So I don't know, it does feel like the past clump of games she's been kind of getting closer to the Ezzy we know. So nice to see that at least. But yeah, I hope maybe the three helps ease some things. But yeah, anything from this game that we didn't talk about that you want to look at before we look ahead to Connecticut on Friday for Pride Night? I did think it was funny that the Storm graphic in arena for Pride Night was Skylar Diggins and Marina Mabry. Stud Rena, may I say.
That's kind of funny. Um, Honestly, NECA may not want to throw this game away, but I'm going to. So
Okay, that's
that's all I
fair.
got, man. Honestly, bad loss to a bad team.
And especially fucking behind Media Row, we had some. I'm sure it was some Caitlin Clark fan, because it wasn't a Fever fan. I don't think there's a contingent of people from Indiana that moved to Seattle who was shouting airball at every free throw. And I was like, brother, half of these aren't even airballs. Like, can you see? I know we're behind the basket, but goddamn. Um, yeah, it's a tough one. I am again, if you've got thoughts on it, we'd love to hear yours. We do get a couple folks who do comment after every game, which is cool to have, consistent contingent. I will say, I think I was going to do this. Think we'll do and obviously this is going to be at the end, so some people might not see it. We'll do a ticket giveaway for Friday to help boost some All-Star votes. because there's no way in hell Lexi Hull should get votes over Nika or Gabby. I realize this is the bad game to say that, but you know, so WNBA.com/vote. I did from one of my like 5 emails that I have to create for the different accounts. I might do a ticket giveaway for Friday. So figure that out. But anyway, yes, Friday, normal time, right? Normal 7 o'clock, if I remember correctly.
I can't believe people are
Friday
wearing Fever jerseys in Seattle.
is disgusting. I
It's
was walking up to the media
sacrilegious.
entrance. Uh, uh,
Icky.
on one hand, I want to be like, hey, it's nice to see so many little girls at a game like this, but also knowing
Everything else that comes along with
you get what I'm saying, right? I think anybody who knows the W well enough gets what I'm getting at.
the
So
circus.
yes. So Friday, yes, Friday is Pride Night, June 27th at 7 o'clock. Yes, 7 o'clock tip off. Fans can participate in activations around the concourse, support and celebrate the LGBTQ plus community during the game. An LGBTQ plus leader from the community will be honored and presented with a donation to the nonprofit of their choice to support their ongoing work. Oh yes, they'll have the Pride line out. I'm sure I showed it whenever it came out, but I had the Doppler Protect Trans Youth shirt. And then Seattle's Pride Parade is on Sunday. And I should be there for Rough and Tumble, our home sponsor, as they have a contingent there. So anyway, so we see you Friday night. Friday night. Studrina. And again,
Last
it's just
Friday night.
wow, Katy Perry throwback.
Wait,
Okay. Was I
Jesus Christ, you
I get
calling
the
me
wrong one?
old? Is it?
No, whoa. Hold on.
That's a throwback? The fuck?
To me it is. Um what was it? Oh no, again, funny to have that graphic with Marina and then Skylar, especially after Natisha Heidemann her comments was it the stud buds is her and Courtney's thing,
Yeah.
talking about how she had a crush and she said, "Shut up, you still have that crush." That is great. That was the one laugh I could take away from this one. So all right. So we see you next time from the inside of Climate Pledge Arena, where these poor folks are trying to clean, and I am still here talking. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Do whatever you can to make tonight, a great night, today, a great day, whatever. You'll probably watch this tomorrow.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, were you going to watch the Seattle Storm away games this year?
Away games. Well, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports. So I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See you all here.